What the f? Feige. What the f? Listen, I was a huge Star Trek fan, and Hollywood that up. Then I had to move to Star Wars. I was already a Star Wars fan, understandably, but Star Wars is undoubtedly up. I've tried to be loyal to Marvel throughout all of these series that they've been putting on, that they put on Netflix, which some of them, when they first started out, they were good. Then they moved over to wherever they are now, Disney. I mean, I liked Hawkeye. I think I'm one of the few people that did. My point is now Marvel's up. Okay, that's Robert Downey Jr., who brought the MCU to life and brought a pretty much C-list character to life in Iron Man. He printed his mark on Tony Stark so indelibly. He did such an amazing job portraying Tony Stark that I believe that the Tony Stark in the books kind of morphed a little bit to have a little bit more of Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark persona. In other words, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the books started having Tony Stark be more wisecracking, joking, a lot more arrogant. Because I read Iron Man back in the 70s and 80s. I'm from the Demon in a Bottle era, okay? So I think they actually rewrote Iron Man in the books as of late, since I guess that would be since 2008, after the popularity of the first Iron Man film, which everyone understands is what launched the MCU. So how do you take the actor who created such an indelible mark on that character and then cast him in another role in this MCU? For those of you who want to make the argument that, hey, well, Chris Evans played Human Torch in 2 Fantastic Four movies, and then he came back to play Captain America, are you serious? Are you serious? Do you honestly think that Chris Evans left such an imprint on Johnny Storm in those 2 god-awful trash movies that no one else could ever play Johnny Storm? Now, that's not to say that I think you should hire Michael B. Jordan to play Johnny Storm for other reasons, but look at that. So, because Michael B. Jordan played Johnny Storm in that god-awful version of Fantastic Four, he couldn't be recast as Killmonger? Iron Man, Tony Stark, as far as I'm concerned, is always going to be Robert Downey Jr. So why do you cast an actor and put him in the role of one of the most iconic characters, definitely the most iconic villain in Marvel? Why would you cast Robert Downey Jr. so that it's so disrespectful to the audience? I won't be able to have Tony Stark disappear when I see Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. You're not doing any service to the character of Doctor Doom having Robert Downey Jr. play it, because I'm only going to see Iron Man. I'm only going to see Tony Stark, and I'm not going to buy it. Wait, did I hear someone make the argument that, well, Ben Affleck played Daredevil in one movie, and then he played Batman, and remember Q, you were one of the people that didn't want Ben Affleck to play Batman when you first heard that he was playing him. Yeah, I was one of the ones who said, I don't want to see Ben Affleck play Batman because I thought Ben Affleck at that point was oversaturated. But he did kill the role. I admit that. He killed the role. But don't tell me, well, because he played Daredevil and then he got hired to play Batman, don't tell me that you could do the same thing with Robert Downey Jr. Because again, if you're telling me that Ben Affleck was so dope as Daredevil that you can't see anyone else being cast as Daredevil, I'm calling bullshit. Because we all saw, I forget the actor's name on the Netflix Daredevil series, Charlie something. Well, to me, that series, which was, I think there were two seasons, and they were what, 8 or 12 episodes each season. And we were fiending for Daredevil back then when it was on Netflix. We loved that. Now that actor wouldn't have been my first choice to play Daredevil. He didn't have the hero looks as far as I'm concerned. But he still murdered it. So that's different than telling me about Ben Affleck or telling me about, who's the other guy I just mentioned? Chris Evans. Stop it. I'll give you another example. Ryan Reynolds. That dude, is anyone saying that he shouldn't play Deadpool because he played Green Lantern? No, because Green Lantern sucked. And he did not leave a mark on Green Lantern. I don't care. In those cases, with Chris Evans and Ryan Reynolds, it's almost like you want them to be reset as another character because those other movies were trash, but you know they're good actors. They didn't leave their roles or their stamp on those roles because the movie sucked and the screenplay sucked. So it's almost like, yes, please, recast them because we, the audience, we know how talented they are and we want to give them another shot. With Robert Downey Jr., he murdered Iron Man. Don't give him another iconic role because I'm not going to see Doctor Doom. And you're doing a disservice to Doctor Doom. I'm going to see the guy who played Tony Stark playing Doctor Doom. That's the problem. Now, I'm a little older. I'm not going to say how old I am, all right? I'll put it this way. I saw the original Star Wars in the movie theaters, just to give you an idea. I was a kid, but all right, so I'm a little older. So for those of you in my generation, my age group, this may help you understand. Imagine Christopher Reeve, who played Superman first in 1978, and then played him all the way through Superman 4, admittedly a trash movie. And I think that came out in 1984, something around that time. So that's what, 7 years, nearly a decade of playing Superman. And I think he is, even with some of the younger generation, I think he is still widely regarded as the primary on-screen Superman, the guy who set the bar for Superman in the movies. Imagine if Tim Burton back in 1989 had cast Christopher Reeve to play Batman. Now, those of you who are saying right now, oh, that would have been great. That would have been dope. I would say you don't know what you're talking about. You're not about the actual role. You're just about being a fanboy who wants to see what you want to see no matter what. And I say those people that were in Hall H when Robert Downey Jr. took off the mask and all the cheering they were doing, they would have been happy if Peter Dinklage would have been under that mask. It wouldn't have mattered to them. So that's what, I don't want to get in trouble here, but that's what I can't stand about fanboyism. It's like you take anything you can get. You take any crumbs on the table. You don't really discern anything. It just doesn't make any sense. Just off the top of my head, I can give you 3 actors who I'd rather see play Dr. Doom. I'm thinking Adam Driver, who was originally rumored to be playing Reed Richards, which I would have hated. And by the way, that's another story. The new photos that came out with Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards, get the out of here. That's another story, though. Mark Strong, the guy who played Dr. Savannah in the Shazam films. He also was in Kick-Ass. Love that guy. Nikolai Coster-Waldau, I think that's his name. He played Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones. He's got that kind of that look. I would love to see any one of those actors, and I'm sure if I went on Google or IMDb, I'd find or just Google who should play Dr. Doom. I doubt Robert Downey Jr.'s name is going to appear on any of those lists. Okay, moving to the next issue I have with this. Why are they introducing Dr. Doom in the Avengers film? And by the way, it's the Avengers team that no one's going to recognize or I'm guessing going to care about other than Sam Wilson and maybe Ant-Man. Moving on. Why are they introducing this character in an Avengers film as opposed to a Fantastic Four film. Now, I know the FF film, which I don't have high hopes for, it's rumored that they're going to introduce Galactus, finally, just out of respect. You got to introduce Doctor Doom in a Fantastic Four movie. Now, I'm saying all of this based on not knowing what the plan is. So who knows what they're going to do? I'm just reacting to what they're feeding me. So for all you people that like to say, well, you just got to wait and see, just get the out of here. I'm also hearing people talking about, well, there was a storyline in the books where Tony Stark wore the Doom costume. I believe I'm vaguely familiar with that, or I may have that wrong. But there was something about a Tony Stark, Doctor Doom crossover. I don't care. And also with this, all of these multiverses and variants and the TVA and all that is giving the writers a crutch for lazy storytelling, uninspired storytelling. It gives them the opportunity to do whatever they want with these characters. They don't have to be accurate at all. They can just throw anything against the wall to see if it sticks, to see if we, the sometimes gullible fans, like it, and then they'll go with, oh, okay, well, let's keep doing that. So in my opinion, they've introduced, or they're maintaining, all of this bull with multiverses and quantum verses and timelines and branches and TVA and all that stuff, just to use that as a beta testing ground with us fanboys or us discerning fans who sit there like, oh my God. Whereas the fanboys would just be like, yay! We gotta demand better. We can't just take whatever they throw at us. And none of this is intended to say that Robert Downey Jr. is not an excellent actor. Clearly he is. He won an Oscar, which doesn't always mean that you're an excellent actor, but I think we can all agree that he won an Oscar for Oppenheimer, and even though his role was kind of small in that film, he was great, okay? So I'm not downplaying Robert Downey Jr. at all. I'm just saying, don't do this. It just seems like such a cheap gimmick just to draw us back to Marvel and as an attempt to make Marvel great again. That sounded familiar, like politics today, didn't it? I mean, even my man back here, he looks like, man, this is some bullshit. I can't believe I signed up for this. Did I sign up for this? Oh, yeah, I did, because they're paying me the equivalent of the GDP of a small country to come back to the MCU, which they probably are. This guy, I'm certain he's getting bank to do this. I am not happy about this. I'm reading a lot of stuff online where a lot of other people are unhappy about this. I've seen a couple other reviewers talk about this, and they're kind of split down the middle. But I side with anyone who believes that this is a cheap ploy just to get Marvel, the MCU, back on the map. They couldn't come up with anything better than this gimmick. And I'm disappointed in this. And again, it has nothing to do with Robert Downey Jr. as an actor. I wanted to see something different, or not going back to the well just to make a buck. Leave me some comments. Tell me if you think I'm off base. Tell me to go, well, anyway. But let me know what you think. That's the Martini. All right, I'll see you soon.